Welcome to PP English Learning and Conversation. Today in this video, I'll be going to explain you figures of speech of the poem Have You Earned Your Tomorrow? This poem is written by Edgar. This is really a wonderful poem as it teaches us how to spread happiness in the life of others by our good deed of today. Throughout the poem, poet has used many rhetorical questions not to get an answer but to make the reader think and ponder, to introspect his behavior towards others. The theme, the bottom line of the poem is tomorrow's battle is won during today's practice. Here, the poet is insisting readers to earn their tomorrow by helping others today. Let us begin with the figures of speech. The poet starts the poem with a question. In fact, throughout the poem, there are many questions raised by the poet. The first line, is anybody happier because you passed his way? Here, the question is asked simply to make the readers aware about his approach towards others, whether he has brought happiness in the life of others or not. The figure of speech is interrogation. Interrogation is the asking of question not for the sake of getting an answer but to put a point more effectively. Here, the poet has asked question to emphasize a point and make the reader think. One more figure of speech is found in the same line, that is alliteration. Alliteration is a figure of speech where the sound is repeated for the poetic effect. Here, the sound of the letter H has been repeated twice to bring special effect to the poem. Next line, does anyone remember that you spoke to him today? Again, it is interrogation. The poet has raised a question not to get an answer but to highlight his point, to make the reader to think and introspect his behavior. One more figure of speech is found in the same line, that is alliteration. As the sound of the letter T is repeated twice for the poetic effect. Next line, this day is almost over and its toiling time is through. Again, we find alliteration in this line as the sound of the letter T has been repeated to bring special effect to the poem. One more figure of speech is found in the same line, that is transferred epithet. Transferred epithet is when an adjective usually used to describe one thing is transferred to another. Here, it is the person who spends time in his toils, but the time has been said as toiling, so it is transferred epithet. Next line, is there anyone to utter now a kindly word of you? Again, the poet has raised a question to make the readers to think, to introspect his behavior. Did you give a cheerful greeting to the friend who came along, or a cheerly sort of howdy and then vanish in the throng? Antithesis is found in this line. Did you give a cheerful greeting to the friend who came along, or a cheerly sort of howdy and then vanish in the throng? Let us take these two lines together. As said, antithesis is used by the poet. You know, antithesis is a figure of speech in which opposite ideas are placed in the poetic line. Here, cheerful and churlish are opposite to each other, so it is antithesis. Again, interrogation is found in the line, or a churlish sort of howdy and then vanish in the throng. Next line, were you selfish, pure and simple as you rushed along the way? Or is someone mighty grateful for a deed you did today? The figure of speech is alliteration, as you find the sound of the letter S, W and D repeated twice. Interrogation is also found in the same line as the poet has raised the question. One more figure of speech is found in the line, were you selfish, pure and simple as you rushed along the way? The figure of speech is inversion. As you know, inversion is a figure of speech where the words are not arranged as per the prose order. Here, the word order has been changed by the poet to bring special effect to the poem. The correct word order should be, were you pure selfish and simple as you rushed along the way? Next line, can you say tonight in parting with the days that is slipping fast? The figure of speech is interrogation, as the poet has raised rhetorical question. One more figure of speech is found in the line, that is personification, as the day has been personified, like as if it is slipping fast, moving fast. One more figure of speech is found in the line, can you say tonight in parting with the days that is slipping fast? The figure of speech is alliteration, as the sound of the letter S has been repeated for the poetic effect. Next line, that you helped a single brother of the many that you passed. Again the poet has used rhetorical question, interrogation. Sometimes the question mark may not be used by the poet at the end of the statement, but by the structure you will get to know whether it is question or not. Next line, is a single heart rejoicing over what you did or said? The figure of speech is interrogation. One more figure of speech is found in the same line, that is synecdoche. You know, synecdoche is a figure of speech where a part represents the whole. Here, heart represents the person. In short, synecdoche is a figure of speech where the whole of something is represented by the part. Here, a single heart means human being. It is not heart that is rejoicing. It is human being who is happy for what you said or did. Alliteration is also found in the line, as the sound of the letter S is repeated twice for the poetic effect. Next line, does a man whose hopes were fading now with courage look ahead? Again we find interrogation in this line, as the question is raised by the poet to bring some special effect to the poem. One more figure of speech is found in the same line, that is inversion, as the words in the given line have not been arranged as per the prose order. The correct word order is, does a man whose hopes were fading now look ahead with courage? Next line, did you waste the day or lose it? Was it well or sorely spent? Again, the figure of speech is interrogation, as the question is asked by the poet. One more figure of speech is found in the same line, that is alliteration. In fact, double alliteration, as the sound of the letter W is repeated thrice and S is repeated twice. We find one more figure of speech in the same line, that is antithesis. You know, antithesis is a figure of speech when words with opposite meaning are used in the line for the poetic effect. Here, the words well and sore express opposite meaning, so it is antithesis. Next line, did you leave a trail of kindness or a scar of discontent? Again we find interrogation, as the question is posed by the poet. One more figure of speech is found in the same line, that is alliteration, as the sound of the letter D is repeated for the musical effect. Antithesis is also found in the line, as I have already explained you what is antithesis. Antithesis, where opposite meaning words are used side by side for the poetic effect. Here the words kindness and discontent are used in the line to bring some special effect to the poem. So it is antithesis. Next poetic line. As you close your eyes in slumber, do you think that the God would say, you have earned one more tomorrow by the work you did today? Again you find interrogation in the line as the question is asked by the poet. We find alliteration as well in the line, as the sound of the letter S is repeated for the poetic effect. We find repetition as well, as the word is repeated, the word you is repeated for the poetic effect. Next poetic line. Have you earned one more tomorrow by the work you did today? In the line we find antithesis, as two opposite words tomorrow and today are used in the line. So it is antithesis. That's all about the figures of speech used in the poem Have You Earned Your Tomorrow by Edgar Guest. Thank you.